I have studied the child, I have taken what the child has given me and expressed it, and that is what is called the Montessori method. Maria Montessori. Maria Montessori was born August 31st, 1870, in Sucurvale, Italy. Her work in education is great and has been long-lasting. But before we explore her work, we must first look at the woman herself and how she became who she was. Maria's father, Alessandro, and her mother, Renilde, were both educated people. Her father was an accountant. This may be the reason Maria was such an outstanding mathematician. It is known that her mother had a great passion for reading, which also influenced Maria as she grew up. Her foundation in learning was strong and carried through her lifetime. At a time when many young women furthered their education in the classics, Maria went against the norms of her day and furthered her education in technical school. She wanted to be an engineer. This was the path generally taken by boys. When she graduated from school as a young educated woman, her parents naturally wanted her to become a teacher, as this was one of the only careers offered women at this time. Again, Maria went against the establishment and decided to pursue an education in medicine. Maria wanted to be a doctor, even though no woman of her day had ever attempted this endeavor. Her father did not support her decision, and even the head of the new medical school initially declined her application. Maria persevered. She is known to have told the school upon her rejection, "I know I shall become a doctor." The Pope interceded on her behalf, and Maria was eventually admitted to the University of Rome in 1890. Maria was only 20 years old. It is clear that from the very beginning of her life, Maria was smart and driven. She did not take no for an answer and worked hard to accomplish goals. Maria studied physics, math, and natural science. 2 years later, she was the first female to enter medical school in Italy and became a part of the faculty of medicine at the university. She was an outstanding student, not just because she was a woman, but also because of her mastery of subjects. She won many scholarships that helped pay for much of her schooling. Upon graduation, Maria was employed at the hospital attached to the university. Much of Maria's work at the hospital was with the poor, and in particular their children. She was a good doctor. She cared for her entire patient, not just for their problem or illness. In 1897, she went on to work in the psychiatric clinic at the university, where she met and had a relationship with another doctor, Giuseppe Montesano. In 1898, Maria gave birth to a son named Mario, and he was sent to live with a family in the countryside near Rome, to keep the birth a secret as they were unmarried. Maria visited, but it wasn't until the child was older that he learned Maria was his mother. Maria loved her work at the clinic. She read all she could on the subject. She became a great observer of human behavior. She studied the work of the two 19th century Frenchmen that put an emphasis on the education through the five senses. They both opposed the strict regimented schools of the time. These ideas obviously influenced Maria immensely. She was later asked to co-direct with Montesano a new institution for retarded children called the Orthophrenic School. This was an impactful event in Montessori's life. She went from doctor to educator. Maria studied and observed the children here and refined her theories on the best way to educate. Maria left the school in 1901 as a result of a failed relationship with Montesano. She went on to study educational philosophy and anthropology, which is the study of humans. In 1904 to 1908, Maria was a lecturer at the Pedagogic School of the University of Rome. She opened her first school, the Casa del Bambini, January 6, 1907. Maria was 37 years old. Her life up until this point had developed her for the lasting impact she would make in the world. By 37, she had studied engineering, mathematics, science, biology, psychiatry, philosophy, medicine, anthropology, and pedagogy. She was well equipped to change the state of education forever.
Maria Montessori has a child-centered approach. The students work at tables or on floor mats to spread out on while the teacher circulates about the room. The room contains all essentials for optimal development, but nothing superfluous. Everything in the room is child-sized, including the pictures and decorations at eye level, to enhance the children's independent functioning. The room is reality of order, beauty, and simplicity, along with the toys being beautiful, shiny, and in perfect condition. Nothing must be missing so that to the child it always seems new, complete, and ready for use. In a study by Montessori, the children were intensely attracted to sensory development apparatus and had inner satisfaction. Nyan, who has collaborated with Montessori to construct materials in the 1920s. This is now the largest manufacturer of Montessori materials and is located in Europe. In 1975, USA built a Montessori manufacturing company in California. While presenting this manufacturer's materials, the children were observed by trial and error that showed the materials were significant. Every toy is called a material, and children work with materials rather than play with them. Every item has a lasting quality that goes through a step-by-step process. The wood items are made from beechwood, and the timber is kiln-dried. There is a precision in cutting, and they use space-age adhesives that have almost eliminated use for nails, screws, or metal fasteners. They finish up their products with a lacquer finish. When preparing these products, the safety of children are in mind, using certain safety paints and finishes. This Nyan Hua's manufacturers state that their Montessori products are second to none. The childlike furniture products can be anywhere from cabinet, cubbies, material cabinets, or chairs. The practical materials are of the following: sorting trays, dishwashing, hand-washing table, buttoning frame, zipping frame, safety pin frame, and finger puppet. The children also play with blocks, grammar objects, and stacking items. Some larger materials that are used in Montessori schools are checkerboards for long multiplication, a pink tower for three-dimensional items, and many practical life materials such as dust, wax, wash, sequencing, working left to right.
The Montessori teacher, child, and environment may be seen as a learning triangle. Each item is eventually linked together. She or he may guide her students to new lessons and challenges, but it is the child's interaction with what the environment has to offer that enables learning to occur. Teachers should not be the focus of the classroom. The Montessori classroom should radiate harmony and respect. There are no raised voices, no rude behavior, only respect for one another. In the classroom, the student will learn how to live in a community, to learn independently, to think constructively and creatively. The design of the environment is important because children learn directly from it. Part of the inviting environment is that children need more individual attention. The teacher is trained to teach one child at a time with a few small groups and almost no lessons given to the whole class. Montessori recognized that we must educate the child as a whole and saw that children learn from what they are studying individually, but also from the amazing variety of work that is going on around them. The design of the Montessori school is such that grade levels are grouped by kindergarten through second and third through fifth, because she saw that students don't fit into one mold. Instead, she recognized that children should be able to move at their own pace. All subjects are interwoven and should not be isolated from one another, and a child studies them in any order they choose. The 5 areas of Montessori's curriculum is broken down as such. The first is practical life, including activities from pouring, transferring, threading, folding, and polishing. All of these activities assist the child to develop independence and self-control, as well as fine motor skills. The second is a sensorial area, to develop and refine the 5 senses. The third is the language area, working to develop phonic awareness through tracing letters and other activities to help support basic grammar and language skills. The fourth is mathematics, focusing on using manipulatives to teach the math as children are ready for it. The fifth is the cultural area. This area is focused on providing the child with the knowledge of biology, geography, history, and science. Children will also be exposed to foreign languages and different cultures.
Now that you've learned all about Maria Montessori and her theory, here are some ways to implement her theory into your classroom. In your classroom, you should give children opportunities to freely move, opportunities to dress themselves, and give them an option to choose what they want to do. Also, allow them to assist you and other adults. Observation is key for adults in a Montessori classroom. It helps us learn what the child's needs are. This is how Maria Montessori developed her theory of education and development. Following the child is also a very significant element in her theory. By following the child, it allows them to show you what they need to do, what they need to develop for themselves, and what area they need to be challenged in. If the students want to climb, let them climb. However, let them climb in a safe environment. Following the child means being non-directive. This means not telling the child what to do all the time. Instead of reprimanding a child with a no or a don't do that, present them with options of different objects, toys, or materials. Don't tell the child what he or she needs to do. Instead, give them something else to choose from. Children are going to make mistakes. They are human, just like you and I. Instead of raising your voice, use the mistake as an opportunity to learn. For example, if a child mispronounces a word, instead of correcting the mistake, say the word correctly. Correcting the student may result in them being scared to make any mistakes. This quote by Maria Montessori discusses the importance of the classroom environment. The teacher's first duty is to watch over the environment, and this takes precedence over all the rest. Its influence is indirect, but unless it be well done, there will be no effective and permanent results of any kind, physical, intellectual, or spiritual. The prepared environment is significant to the success of the Montessori method. The rooms are child-sized with activities set up for success. It allows freedom for the student to move and choose which station or center to go to. The environment must be safe for the child to explore freely. Play is referred to as work by Montessori. She calls it work because it is through this that children create themselves. Your job as the teacher is to construct the environment in which they will learn. The development of the child is dependent on the environment that he or she is in. She believes that children have an absorbent mind. This means that children will learn without being taught, so to speak. Children under 3 do not need lessons in order to learn and retain information. They absorb everything by experiencing the environment. The language of the child generally will reflect the language of the adult. What adults say heavily influences what a child will say, so be careful what you say in front of a child. To be a Montessori teacher, you have to be intensely trained. In the Montessori school system, there are no paper tests with marked corrections on it. Instead, the child's effort and work is respected as it is. The teacher, through extensive observation and record keeping, plans individual projects to enable each child to learn what he or she needs in order to improve their skills. In order to be a Montessori teacher, he or she must pass an oral and written exam on these lessons in order to be certified. He or she should be trained to recognize a child's readiness according to age, ability, and interest in a specific lesson. He or she must also be prepared to guide individual progress. All subjects in a Montessori school are interwoven, not taught in isolation like a typical school curriculum. A child is free to work on any material he or she understands at any given time. There are typically 30 to 35 children to one very well-trained teacher with a non-teaching assistant. All learning styles are nurtured and encouraged. Assessment is by portfolio, the teacher observation, and record keeping. The test of whether or not the system is working depends on the accomplishment and behavior of the children, along with their happiness, maturity, kindness, and love of learning.